say hello to everybody again. It's nice to meet you, everyone, all the teachers and students at the back. Today we're going to talk about the CLIL history class that we had, or the lesson we just had in the morning. But before we actually started, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Marcus, as not everybody knows, but some of you do.
My name is Jenny. I'm Eilish. Nice to meet you. Or I like to say in Spanish, me llamo Eilish.
My name is Ethan.
My name is Patricia.
My name is Bianca.
My name is Antonia.
My name is Ali.
My name is Gabriel. Nice to meet you again.
And I am Pablo.
And I'd like to thank everybody for working us or together. It was really well, everybody was helpful and nice to each other. So it went really well. So overall, what we had in the classroom, we're going to talk about the technology of it because overall the project is about technology. So the first thing he talked about was using Google Maps. He had this, well, how do I say it? He like presented about historical points on Google Maps, like if something historical was there. For instance, I don't know, some historical place basically. He can show it on Google Maps and talk a little about it. For instance, he actually talked about a little about our countries, where we're from, and well, basically everything he knew about it.
And then he discussed about what they're learning in the classroom using digital books to scan in onto the screen. But he said in his quote, he said he's using an English and Spanish barrier to connect with the students as well. E-learning, for instance, they're trying to let them speak a bit of English, so they can speak English everywhere, not just Spanish.
Basically, whenever point of the class, the teacher asks the student to start reading the text or the topic that they're currently studying. He also made some emphasis on what they already mentioned, translating the information on the books to the tablets and to this project that we're going to present, that's evocación, which is precisely that.
He's trying to introduce iPads and tablets to the students to integrate technology as a formal learning barrier.
Basically to make the more class just overall more dynamic.
So he had as well as evocation. How do you say it? Evocation. Sorry. So it was like a basic learning classroom, or like a basic studying site. So.
It's sort of similar to our Moodle platform that we have in here. It has some resources, it has content, it has ebooks as well. They show videos. They also have audio books as well.
Yeah.
There's a few pictures coming up that we can show you a little bit about the site and stuff.
A little description, actually, like every picture has a small description.
Yeah. So the teacher can actually like tell what's going on and stuff.
And they highlight the text using assertive learning, title the words, and they speak Spanish, but he speaks fluently English to students. Then
So that they can improve their English and break the barrier.
That's what the CLIL meant at the beginning. It's actually like he not only, but he like teaches everybody in English. So yeah.
Breaks the barriers there.
So then there's as well digital books, not right now, but it's actually he told us that it's actually coming up next year. They're trying to implement them, and so it will be actually easier to basically study, and it will be more like
more easier to them to look at the screen than the book.
And he said as well it's cheaper than books, which
it is. In Ireland, we spend a fortune in secondary schools and primary schools on a lot of books, and students' bags way over, and they hurt their back.
Very true. Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
And at the end of the lesson, there was a small like exercise where he just like
Small games.
It's like a pop quiz.
yeah, so they can check how much knowledge do you have about the lesson and stuff, and yeah. So this is the basic structure and the design of the site. This is the one of the ebooks. It is actually about the Egypt. Hmm?
Lithuania?
Lithuania.
Lithuania?
It said all the
Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia.
My goodness.
I'm so sorry.
So overall, if they are going to get their tablets on their hands, they're going to actually see like well, this is what they're going to see on the tablet. So I'm going to say it looks like really popping off, and
It's very visual.
yeah,
It's
And
very-
they can read better. They can zoom in and out.
they can actually mark words that are important for and stuff like that.
And they can highlight it with any color they want
Yeah.
towards the app.
It's very encouraging for students to study this way. He also added a lot of pictures as well. Yeah.
Then he
Yeah.
goes back to basic learning then by using the blackboard, by creating the
The pyramid. The
pyramid,
Pyramid, exactly.
social pyramid displays and then
So this is like a main unit that we actually had a lesson on. Somebody can else speak about it? I really don't know much about it.
Thing is, they're into sections. Whereas the teacher has put them into video, massive monuments, and they have Mesopotamia, as they mentioned. Then they have the country. Yep. And then they have like all the temples and the history about it, and then they have the construction of the temples in Egypt.
he explains very clearly what the pyramid was about and what was made out of muddy bricks, isn't it?
Clay.
Clay. Thank you.
And as well, there was a second section as well, which had like exercises on it and stuff for the end of the lesson or in the middle of the lesson, so they can just prove the point that they have studied something.
Basically, the whole lecture was just about architecture and explaining why the pyramids and temples and their significance and the whole symbology behind that, and how to differentiate one between the others. And he also explained a little bit of slavery and talked about Reconstruction too.
And the way the pyramid was made up from the emperors and slaves and architects and describers.
So this is the basic of how the teacher teaches the students. So they use the evocation, which was the main structure of the of the lesson, and well,
He showcases the visual on the lesson.
Meaning that he's going to show them what the lesson is about.
The exercises sums up the lesson in a whole lot of different forms of learning.
And one example was visual, like such as videos, pictures, and then they did a pop quiz, and they learned more.
Notice that he never, even though he's explaining himself and at the same time using the platform, he doesn't stop writing on the blackboard as well to highlight some words, as we said again, and to make draw.
And it helps the students by rewarding them, telling congratulations, encouragement, their learning adaptation.
It's
throughout the lesson.
like it to them might feel like it's an achievement. They've learned something.
They learned English and Spanish at the exact same time.
and so for the basics, the teacher combines technology and conventional, I should say, techniques. He uses the blackboard and he uses computers to just mix up the lesson, so it would be more interesting to either look at the blackboard or just look at the computer screen.
But then there's one key piece of information they use is they go back to practical, where they let the students speak in Spanish of the lesson using the book.
Because it's in two languages. They also have the Spanish books
And
as well as the English.
And they actually practice their English accent because the videos actually have a correct pronunciation, so they can learn that.
So overall, everything else about lesson that we had, but we didn't actually have room for presentation, so we splattered it all over here. He actually said that the previously mentioned platform needs improvements. I really don't remember why, but he just mentions it out.
It's that
There's
Oh,
lack
okay,
of
lack
content
of
and
content.
there's lack of
and
explanation.
design. The design of it needs a bit updating.
It needs to be more visual, like for the students, so that it be more eye-catching, meaning that it'll draw them to the eye.
And as well, platform increases academic performance, just as like tablets, it would like make them more immersed into the lesson. They could do. Oh,
It's better. It's better than, in my opinion, any of us probably agree. It's better than textbook standing and reading a textbook.
Like if they find the textbooks important, they probably would be very close to falling asleep. If you know what I mean.
But if you have the iPad or the tablet right in front of you, you can actually put on your headphones and listen to music while you're reading the text.
I feel like the classes were just the whole point was just to make the class more interactive. So even if the students are not interested, it's kind of forces them to
They're
pay
interacting
attention,
more.
and yeah, it's a funny way to.
But
It's practical.
It's practical.
and yeah, for the last thing is that the digital books are implemented the next year, like you mentioned, which I think students are going to really appreciate that and are going to wait for it.
and they'll be saving money.
Yes.
They save money every year by using digital textbooks, and it will help with physical impairment or hearing loss because you can highlight the text.
And if you're blind, they should have like audio
Audio description.
so that they can hear. They might not be able to see it, but at least they can hear it.
Hear it on the go.
To sum it up, it's a universal way of learning.
And yeah, thank you for listening and thank you for my good listening.
There wasn't enough.
We already explained about it. Like, it was, I hope it doesn't make you feel bad, but
I need to get stuff in my parents.
I mean, you spoke at least. Like when you spoke, everyone was like, okay, let's be quiet, let go speak.
Did they give you a copy of the presentation? Yes, I have it in Google Drive. I will export it later. One moment, please. One moment. We want to ask questions. Before the other team, teachers would like to ask you the first thing some questions. So maybe Jer wants to begin to break the ice.
Well, I suppose the obvious question for the students in the lesson itself, does it make it more interesting the way he did it? Is it something that is more interesting because it's a once-off? Or would you like to see much more classes like that?
We need to see more interface interaction with the lessons by using tablets and iPads to integrate the learning. Will help so much on stable level and academic level. We don't have that enough in our country or other countries. We need to start using technology to use it properly and to learn so much by doing it. By only simple things, by using speech sets, using so much the way we go along. I didn't even know about these lessons were taught here. I learned so much about Egypt that I didn't even know about. So
I have to tell you that the class was especially prepared for you. Not all the classes are like that. I selected Jose Manuel because I know Jose Manuel can speak very good English. I selected Jose Manuel because he's a young teacher who has a good command of technology. And of course, the class was prepared for you to watch it like that. But again, the goal of the project is to know what we're doing wrong with technology. So we actually want to step back. I don't know if you have noticed it, but lately I find technology more and more unusable. You have so many things that becoming a teacher is beginning to be complicated. So we want to step back a little bit because we don't know if it has more advantages than disadvantages. So I would ask you, what disadvantages do you think the kids have with this kind of lessons? What disadvantages?
If everything are connected to internet, can be very, very
Distracted.
distracting.
But in terms of learning, for example, I have noticed that kids and students in general write worse and worse every year. So it's a question of improving some things and, of course, making things worse as well. So that's one of the goals, right, sure? So what do you have to say about it? For example, we've been talking about visual learning, videos, but what about reading? Do you know our students almost don't read at all?
Yeah.
They consume a lot of YouTube, even for learning.
Yeah.
But they don't read. At least my students, that's what I noticed.
We're saying that use the audio speech so that they can listen to what people are saying. That keeps them aware.
But with today's technology, there is a lot of movies made by books, so students usually choose watching movie not to read the book. But I think it's not a great idea because reading still makes you not smarter, but it improves your eyesight and you will see more things and your vocabulary will become better if you read books, not to watch movies.
What about imagination? What about imagination? I find my students tend to copy a lot from YouTube. For example, I challenge them to solve a problem by programming or whatever. And then I find that the first thing they do is they look in internet for similar solutions, but they don't think of a solution themselves. So
That's one disadvantage is that we can copy things straight from the internet.
So that's one of the problems I find. Imagination is not encouraged. Copy is encouraged. So I don't know if that matches very well our philosophy.
I don't think copying can be encouraged. I think copying is very cheap.
But copying not in terms of cheating, copying in terms of
Not being original.
not being original. That's right, not being original.
Because a lot of students know they copy and paste when they have to do like writing and write an essay, then they usually use Wikipedia and they literally do copy and paste. So they don't even, mostly don't use their own words and they don't think what they're writing about.
I still remember when I was younger, I tried to study only the day after the exams. The day before, sorry, the day before the But after the exam, I completely forgot everything. So that's one thing that's happening nowadays. They copy and paste and they don't know anything.
Yeah, but there is an argument too that we always say that knowledge is power and how you access that knowledge. So therefore, the skills of actually researching the knowledge, looking for the right YouTube and so on, video, and to be able to do something with that is empowering the person. It's like if a washing machine broke down, and I found, right, instead of getting a person in to fix that washing machine and giving him €100 or whatever, that I could do it myself, that's empowerment. So therefore, if you like, it's not so much that I'm copying for the sake of it, I'm copying because I want to do things, move on. So it's the empowerment is the knowledge, the knowledge is empowerment, so that it's a positive thing. Do you understand? It depends on which way you actually look at it.
And that's really where the debate is, I suppose, between how much do you use technology, because there's been a lot of studies done in the last 2 or 3 years that have shown that, for example, with maths, people's mental arithmetic has decreased significantly in recent years because immediately they go for a calculator or rather than actually working it out in their head. Likewise, they were showing that people's memory seems to be reduced because people feel they don't need to remember things now because you Google it.
Exactly, that's
so on one hand, you have a lot more information available, which as Red said is empowering, and then on the other hand, you have less memory usage, which is disempowering. So,
and I would like to add that sometimes life is about making quick decisions.
I work out in my head. Some people do it naturally because it's just natural to them, rather than when it comes to people with math difficulties, they use calculators because it's their solution.
It's my solution. Like what is the kid academy? It's an app where you can look up lessons by step, but it does teach me. I had a test before thing, and I looked at my math academy for days trying to work it out, and it took me 2 days. 2 days to work it out. But if I do it on a textbook,
It's harder to explain it.
it's visual impairment. I have performance deficits. The numbers like all the numbers, all the stuff. But I use my iPad and getting happy to really read it and I can hear it and then I can work it out in my head.
The debate is not if technology is bad or good for learning.
Yeah.
We all agree technology is wonderful for learning. Problem is, for example, life sometimes is about making quick decisions. If you don't have the knowledge in your head to react quickly, you have to Google it. Then that puts you in a difficult situation in life sometimes. So that's what I try to teach my students also, that it's not only necessary knowing how to look for knowledge, because knowledge is power. It's also having it in your head. It's like retention, so you can react quickly.
We can do it 2 ways. You can take a step back to use technology and you can do it the practical way, or else we can make use of it.
Yeah, that's the goal of the project, I think. That's the goal of the project, I think.
I was just going to say, are any of the students have an opinion on that before we move on from it?
Yeah, there are a couple of raised hands.
So basically, today's technology makes also students really lazy. They don't want to remember anything because they have internet to do with their research. Students who are actually good at math are using calculators because they're just lazy. Because they don't want to use their brain, even though they have the knowledge and they know how to do math. So for me, I think technology should be a little bit not so overpowered by about everything else because people are getting lazier and lazier.
I don't feel like the issues is more about technology and the use of technology, but it's a product of the current time. Students have less memory retention because they have the need to refresh information quicker. We don't have the time to study or to get the amount of knowledge that society asks us for. I feel like there's more and more pressure. Obviously knowledge is power and learning is important. I'm not saying that, but there's more and more pressure and stress to learn faster, better, and more. So it's more and more difficult to specialize yourself in something because nobody really does know about everything. Knowledge has less and less value because you can just Google it. You can just find it there. It doesn't matter so much if you copy or not. I think it's just a matter of what the market, what employee or the jobs demand of us, what society demands of students.
Gabriel has a very good point because we can enforce them by collaborating them together. Because we have in Ireland, we use iPads as learning tools. So people with autism, that's a big step of e-learning. I'm dyslexic.
I feel like the minds of the students are always the same. Like it's not that they're equal people are stupider or dumber nowadays. It's just that the information is different, or the acquired information is different.
And the bandwidth and the volume of information is higher, of course.
It's higher.
It's higher.
It's going to be getting higher and higher. So knowledge is going to have less value at the end of the
You know who Napoleon was?
Yeah.
Napoleon used to say that intelligence without memory is nothing. Now, I'm not a fan of Napoleon. As you know, Napoleon invaded these lands some years ago and we had to fight him and so on. But I think he had a point. I mean, you can have your head very well shaped, but if you don't have the memory, you cannot retain data enough to act consequently. So, what else? What about the Turkish? What do you think?
I think government forces students for learning. They are not interesting things. I don't want to learn math, but they are trying to teach me a math. But I don't want. I want to be a programmer in future. But I need math. I know, but
I think he means he's trying to that it's not you don't there's no specialized anymore. Like he's learning extra things that he should, because there's this thing that knowledge is power, and you're supposed to know everything. You're supposed to know basic stuff, but he doesn't really need it when it comes to it. At the end of the day, he's just another citizen that has to be good at something specific.
And you'd be under pressure. And
There's a lot of stress on students, peer pressure.
like it could actually potentially cause someone to have an anxiety attack. That's how much pressure it is. That's how stressful trying to remember everything is. Like I may have the memory, but not everyone does.
Like you could have your tablet there, you have on the phone, listen to the lesson, and that gives people some activity inside their heads, and they remember it better. I think I'm gonna agree to disagree. You have very good points, and this is needed. I'd rather have both of them together than this one against each other.
Which means that she'd rather have them combined, rather have one against the other. That's what she's trying to say.
We can't learn what we want. We only learn they want.
What's in the curriculum?
I want to learn about science and more things, but I don't need everything in science. I don't want to learn. Some it's more interesting for me. I don't learn about it, but they're trying to teach me everything about it. All science, all maths. That's it.
Well, in government's defense, I would like to say that the studies have shown that if you are taught that, you will learn only the 20% of that. That's why they try to teach you everything, so you get the 20% only. What about Romanians?
Okay, so I feel like technology is good, but I think the problem is how people use technology. Because
We need to learn how to use it.
because some people use it way too much and some people don't want to use it. It's not about the technology, it's about how we use it. And I think like if we will combine it with books, like it's the perfect way of learning. So
Coordinator, are you satisfied with the answers?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can move to the next theme. Dime.
Están en la presentación.
Que me las manda por correo.
No sé si te cuando ellos.
Se queda sin wifi, voy a organizar a otra. Izan, ¿dónde está Izan? Izan, súbete a la B21, porfa, y tráete el punto de acceso, que nos lo hemos dejado arriba. El punto de acceso, sí.
Right now it's technical difficulties.
This is our presentation.
So this is one of the problems with technology and internet may not always work, and that's why we cannot do like it where we so one of the disadvantages of technology.
Well, the problem is I forgot the access point access.
Yeah, but that's also one of the difficulties. Yeah, and one of the
Directly on internet.
That's good that happens. We can talk about it. So there is
Espera un segundito.
But then we just stop or like because say more things because they were resisting about web page, we're resisting about their points.
¿Vale? ¿Ya está?
Hello everybody again, can I have everybody's attention please? So we will also introduce ourselves. My name is Kirsten.
My name is Mancha. My name is Robert.
My name is Alex.
My name is Vera.
My name is Carlos.
My name is Alberto.
My name is Arta.
My name is Clara. And my name is Ale.
My name is Lucia.
We are going to talk about the lesson what we attended, and the first thing what we did was watching Google Maps. The teacher was showing all the class everybody's home countries where we're from, and we think it's really interactive because you can do a lot of things actually in Google Maps. It's also fast and free. You can use it everywhere. It's easy to use. It's multi-platform.
You can use this application in your phone or your computer. Almost everything that has an operating system nowadays have a GPS, so you can use Google Maps anytime you want.
And you can do a lot of different things there. You can see the directions to somewhere. You can see some sightseeing what are nearby. You can do everything with Google Maps, and it's good that that teacher is using that on his class.
Well, they talked about they are going to use tablets on the next year for students, and we thought it was a good idea because it's easy to carry. You don't have to carry a lot of books that they weigh and they can harm your back, and they are efficient. You can have a lot of books used in one single system, and if you already bought it, you don't need internet. to use them. You can always have those books anytime you want, anywhere you want.
If you don't want these books.
Yeah.
But those are also disadvantages. It can be really expensive first. At the long-term period, it can be cheaper because ebooks are a little bit cheaper than the original books, but tablets itself are actually expensive, and the first pay what you have to do can be really big. Then you have to always make sure that the battery is full of your tablet because there can be places where you cannot load your tablets and the battery may die and you will not be able to do different things and it's unable offline. If you don't have internet, then you can
Do everything.
you can do everything. Some of the ebooks, some of the platforms are internet based, and if you are offline, then you just cannot use those.
Digibooks.
We thought.
Digibooks are updatable. You can update periodic time. It's about information, right?
They were talking about the ebook, but the other group was talking more specifically and showing pictures, but we just put like little things out. And the teacher was telling us that the ebook actually have more information than the actual book because under the pictures what are in the ebook you find a description and there is basically more information.
Yeah. Also, they provide reliable information because, as you said, it's updatable. If there's a mistake on the book, they can quickly fix them. You're going to have clean information. You're going to have good information. Also, they give us multimedia. As you said, you have a lot of pictures and video, also in English, so everyone you can understand English because English we are given lessons almost in all classes in Spain, so everybody's gonna have access to that English and they can practice that language. Also, as we said, all the books are together. You are together. You are not gonna say, "Oh, I didn't bring this book to my class." You're always gonna have one thing, and you're always gonna give that lesson.
And also you can play little games there, like little quizzes. What our other group was also talking about. So the students will learn or like show the teacher what they learned during the class, and the teacher is also seeing how much the students are actually paying attention and are they studying or not. And the tablets are also lightweight, so if it's the good thing that you look good thing.
So we saw that almost all the class was full English lesson. Uh, he only used Spanish for some words that were a little specific or a little difficult to understand. So they're actually giving a English lesson that helps them not to only learn English but to use it. They can use this English on any conversation or if they want to study anything, they already have like a base to keep improving their English. And of course, the English of the teacher was quite good. Like it was a good level, it was clear, and he he gave like some points that were very good. I think this kind of classes are very good for students who wants to learn English.
You're learning at the same time. You're learning geography, history, and English in the same time. Is good for students. You are how can I say time you get time. not so much time for this.
You're not spending that much time.
No, like you are not your waste time.
You're not wasting your time, yeah.
And because a lot of things in internet today is still in English, and if the lesson is in English and you want to know something specific, then you just can do your research in English because you have already learned that in your class and you know the word already in English, but you don't have to start to translate and then again translate. So we think that's a good. And oh my god, the sound of the sound system what was in that class was so good. Like really, we were sitting back of the class and the sound was actually really nice because usually there are problems that the sound is too loud or too quiet, but it was just perfect. So like the oh my god, it was so good. It was like our first reaction. So yeah. And summary.
Back.
Okay. Sorry.
So we're not done yet. We're not done yet. So what we think in the end, ebooks are useful because it help me.
You can read anywhere if you want, and if you don't in your tablet, you can read anywhere. You can study anywhere. Easy to understand because it has two languages. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you can have different languages in the ebook. If you're not so good in English, you can translate them to Spanish and the other way around.
So dynamic learning, as you saw, it was a 1 hour lesson. So maybe students weren't even listening or something. So at the end of the class, they do like a little summary. So with little games, so they can learn, at least the basics word or the basic thing of that lesson. So they don't go home empty. They need to learn something, and it's difficult to pay attention to 1 hour of history. I know it's crazy.
Yeah, and for students, it's easier for them to learn during the games. And with those quizzes, actually, they have still that they want to win the quiz, and they have the competition still.
Yeah. So another thing we liked was
Voice circles too. It's very dynamic, interactive.
Yeah.
You can, if you need time for 1 hour for studying, you can half of it. How can I say?
You said different things like videos, photos, games.
It makes your time limit is low for studying.
another thing we liked was the teacher actually used the blackboard. He drew like the pyramid. He was talking about the kings, all that stuff. And I think it's important to not just uh, use technology. Teacher needs to support that technology with his own knowledge. No,
Yeah, his
what he
own
know,
knowledge.
yeah,
So
knowledge.
if you have some picture in front of you, then first you have to understand the pictures and then show what is on the picture. But if you use Blackboard, then you can draw your own pictures. You can do whatever you want, so it will be easier for you to teach your students. Thank you for listening.